Welcome to our first podcast. This is with ChemVantage, a chemistry website that puts questions right into your LMS like Canvas and Blackboard. My name is Rich Kingsford, and with me is Chuck White. And we're going to do a 12 episode podcast to get us started. We've never done this before, but we're both passionate about education technology and especially helping struggling students and inspiring students to pursue a career in STEM subjects and especially chemistry. Chuck, would you like to introduce yourself briefly?
Sure. Glad to be with you, Rich. My name is Chuck White. I taught general chemistry and many different courses in chemistry at the University of Utah, and then a few at Weber State University and Salisbury University. I'm retired now, but I was at that for more than almost 40 years. So glad to be founding and running ChemVantage with Rich, and glad to be doing the podcast.
Thank you, Chuck. And a little about myself. I taught in the computer science department and the master's in the MBA level at a few universities. I'm especially interested in economics and programming. Well, I used to be interested in programming. Now AI is very, very good at it, and so I'm pivoting over to other STEM subjects. So our structure is a stack of questions. We like free form discussion, and we have a list of questions here. Anyone in the audience is welcome to comment and send us other questions. Let us know what interests you. Number one, what does the bottom 10% mean? Can you predict a struggling student when you first meet them?
Well, the truth is not really. And bottom 10% really underestimates the magnitude of the problem in STEM fields. In courses like general chemistry at most university, the failure rate, or what they call the DFW rate, the D grade, F grade, or withdrawal rate from core courses like general chemistry varies from 20% at the best case to sometimes 50%. So uh, identifying the bottom 10% of the class is almost meaningless because many more than that are usually predicted to fail. Can I identify them when I meet them? No, really, you can't. You have to get into it and meet the students, get some feedback from them, do some testing, assignments, exams before you really know which students are going to struggle in your course.
Thanks, Chuck. Just to add on, yeah, I as- I don't have that first impression. Students are usually pretty good at feigning interest or and ingratiation. Sometimes in the middle of the course, I'll have a few students every semester who they try to find the edges of the requirements and they try to find some loopholes in what I'm asking with the assignments. Eventually I got better at closing those loopholes, but that always bugged me as a teacher. I want a student, I don't care so much about the grades and about the student cramming a bunch of knowledge in their heads. I care more about them having fun and getting lost in whatever we're studying. Anything else to add, Chuck, about these struggling students?
No, unfortunately, in a course like chemistry, there are a lot of them.
Yeah. Next question. Don't you think most teachers prefer to give up on the bottom 10% learners? Were you ever tempted to give up?
Oh, I would say not intentionally. I hope I never was tempted to give up. I think I probably am tempted if a student is unwilling to try. I mean, some students just even don't even show up in class, and it's hard to get excited about supporting students who don't even try, don't even show up. But for students who show up, for students who give it the old college try, I'd like to think that I was always there for them, and I think that most teachers have that same attitude. you can't always teach to the bottom 10%, because then you shortchange the students who are really going to excel. But you can take some extra time to support those struggling students. And, if they're willing to give it a try, if they're willing to work hard, then I think most teachers are right there willing to support them.
Thank you. Good stuff. Some things that come to my mind are patience. Teachers usually develop patience pretty quick, and that willingness to let the student think. I've caught myself a few times. I really try not to do this, but sometimes there's you just want to answer the question for the student or solve their problem for them. And I really hate it when I see that. I think that robs them even when they're struggling. That struggle is so valuable. That's where the progress comes from, I think.
Yeah, I take a different approach in class. When I ask questions in class and I see a student is struggling to find the answer, sometimes I will rephrase the question as a binary question, a yes, no, or a choice of two. And I'll sort of smile and laugh and I'll say, you got a 50-50 shot. Go ahead, take it. And, if they succeed, then it gives them some confidence. So start easy, start simple, and build on that.
I like that. Next question. From your experience, what do teachers most often misunderstand about the bottom 10% of learners?
Well, I'm not sure that it's a misunderstanding, really. But I wish that we teachers could more easily distinguish um, students with talent, students with um, good preparation from those with grit. And I think sometimes as teachers, we underestimate the value of grit. Grit being the willingness to hang in there, to work hard, to study, to keep at it. And students will uh, learn in various ways, but those with grit will hang in there and succeed just by sheer will. And I think that is sometimes even more valuable than having the experience of a prior class or the prior knowledge. So bottom 10% of learners, those with grit, you gotta support them and get them to hang in there.
Yeah, thank you. One thought that comes to my mind is the learning curve, a steep learning curve. Oftentimes with STEM subjects, you have to understand concept A before you can move on to concept B. They tend to build on each other. And I think as a teacher, I wonder if I I lack that appreciation for okay, maybe I'm trying to teach concept B, but we need to step back and review a prior concept.
Yep.
Hard to see in yourself. Moving on, what early signs tell you a student is slipping long before the grades reveal it?
Well, that's a difficult one. Sometimes you can look out in a class, and if a student is sitting in the back row with a glazed look in their eyes, and really are not engaged, then that may be one indication. But these days, students have multiple distractions. They may be on their phones, they may be thinking of, the party they're going to that night, whatever. And so it's pretty hard to tell. But one thing that I try to do in my classes, or did before I retired, is to engage students in a conversation. And if students are looking at you, if they're expecting a question, if they are engaged in the material, then I think they're okay. If they are somewhere else and you ask them a question and they ask you to repeat the question because they just got you just got their attention, well, then I think that's a pretty good candidate for slipping.
Mm. I love that. Yeah, it's pretty tricky to tell though that disengagement when I think students are really good at putting on their note-taking face, even if it's hard to know what they're doing on their laptop or their phone. I think there are things you can do to prevent the disengagement. One I try to do is not lecture for more, not say one paragraph or sentence longer than 30 seconds. That can be pretty tricky, but I try not to give those long lectures like what you were saying, Chuck, before inviting a discussion. Discussion goes two ways or multiple ways.
Right.
I even like to break up students into smaller discussion groups. I know sometimes it's not their favorite activity, but I'm a big believer. I also used to I never felt very comfortable calling on a student, but I would use a wheel spinner, a free wheel spinner online with everyone's name on it. And I'd spin the wheel and it would throw confetti and say someone's name. And that made the wheel the bad guy, not me.
That's an interesting approach. I never tried that.
Interesting. Let's see. Anything else about early warning signs? A student is slipping. Think that about covers it for me.
Yeah, the quantitative feedback that you get really is in the assignments and the exams.
Yeah, good. A couple more. Let's see. How do you distinguish between a student who lacks skills and one who lacks confidence?
Well, I think we both like to have a dialogue in our classes. And so I try to ask lots of questions. It's scary for students. They shrink from it. But if you start simple, ask, yes, no questions and so forth, then they start to gain confidence. I make sure they know that if they don't know the answer, it's okay. Sometimes if they hesitate, I'll invite them to ask their classmate to answer the question. You can you can sort of see the two people sitting next to that person shrink away, hoping they won't be put on the spot. But eventually, when you get to the point where they realize that it's okay if they don't know the answer, then um, that it promotes a dialogue. So you know, lacking skills would be getting the wrong answer, and lacking confidence would be not wanting to answer the question.
Yeah, I like that. Especially in my software development classes, I would try to ask questions where I'm not looking for a specific answer. One comes to mind, how would you approach blank? I
Mhm.
love that starter. How would you approach whatever? Because there's a lot of wiggle room and even error for mistakes. And science, all we have a scientific method. It's all about testing hypotheses, and maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. Who knows?
Yeah.
Just diving in there and being aware. Maybe part of confidence, a student's confidence, is being aware that I don't know what's going to happen, and that's okay. That's what this project is all about, is discovery and testing and seeing the results of the test. And it's you can be a beginner and still go through that with very few skills.
Those open-ended questions are especially scary for students. But if they get used to recognizing that it's okay not to know the answer or not to know the complete answer, then it helps them to develop some confidence the next time you ask one.
Hmm, love that. Interesting. A few more. What's a moment from your experience that completely changed how you view struggling learners?
Well, a couple of years ago, I had a general chemistry class where a bunch of rowdy guys came in the first day and sat in the front row and sat in the front row for the entire term. And this was pretty unusual. Usually, when I get rowdy boys, especially men, they're in the back row, not the front row. And so I was at first taken aback a little bit, but it turned out that they were struggling learners, but they together had decided that they were going to tackle this course and they were going to support each other and they were going to pass the course. And man, they did. They were completely engaged. They were self-starters. I really never had a group like this in my class before, but I was delighted to have them and I was delighted at their success. So sometimes students can surprise you. Sometimes they can come not only prepared to survive your course, but ready to tackle it and conquer it.
Hmm. Interesting. Very cool. What one experience comes to my mind about a student who it this person just rubbed me the wrong way with her questions. I could tell she was kind of a perfectionist, and sometimes she would challenge. I state some parameters of an assignment, or I'd state my opinion about something in my experience, and she'd ask a question that kind of jabbed at me or challenged my assertion. At first, I was like, "You are so annoying," and I viewed it as an annoyance. But I can't remember if I did it the first time it happened, but I decided to applaud her healthy skepticism, and I tried to appreciate it and say, I am so glad that you're not just taking it at face value and and that you're challenging some of the assumptions I'm making. Good job. And it,
Good.
it was I tried to keep it positive and stay far away from defensiveness,
Uh-huh.
but
Good.
it really made me think. One more. What non-academic factors have the biggest impact on academic struggle?
Well, two really obvious ones are the devices that we carry, our phones, and social media distractions. Students are, their attention is diverted in many different directions constantly, inside and outside of class. And that has a huge impact on academics. It really discourages students from focusing deeply on anything, and it really is it keeps the entire interaction of students with materials shallow, and that's really unfortunate because some of the courses that we teach require deep learning, and it's difficult for students. Another factor for students is their private lives. A lot of students struggle financially. A lot of them have trouble with their families. They have all different situations. And many students drop out of class and drop out of school for reasons that we just don't understand. And so I think students are pulled in many different directions in ways that I was not when I was in college 50 years ago. And so it's really different these days. I, I sometimes wonder if I would survive college these days, or I really do.
Those distractions, they are all over the place. I'm thinking of ways to compete with the distractions, and I think one weapon is, or one technique is variety. I I went to college not uh, many decades ago, a few decades ago, and uh, I sometimes it would be one activity for the entire hour and a half, and it's just so dull. When I taught, I tried to do 20 minutes on this, 20 minutes on that, and shift something every 20 minutes, even if they were related. And I like to think that that had a good impact on, okay, this isn't dull. You know, I have to compete with the phones. I have to compete with social media and and even socializing, face-to-face socializing. And I think it worked okay. There were I didn't engage 100% of the students, but that variety engaged more than half of them in some classes.
Mhm.
Well, this was fun. Thank you, Chuck.
Thank you, Rich. Appreciate it. I hope we can do this again soon sometime.
Me too. Just a reminder to listeners, we're hungry for your engagement. We'd love to hear what teaching concepts interest you. This episode was about the 10% struggling or just struggling students. And we'd like to cover other topics about STEM education, and especially helping this next generation of workers. Anything else you'd like to add, Chuck?
No, I enjoyed it. I hope we can share some of our experiences and maybe and encourage some other teachers to try new things to engage their students to be more successful.